Hey guys, it's Boomer. Welcome back. We are in survival, and as you know, I am your host. So, what are we doing here? Why are we moving a whole bunch of minecart rails? Well, like we said in the last episode, the goal was to get a villager breeder up and running, and we've done just that. We did not use, we didn't use anybody else's breeder that's out there. It is my own design, however, it is probably a compilation of 5 years of learning from a lot of other Minecrafters. So I'm going to say this was a community build. How's that? Now, just to give you an idea, my base where the breeder is located is roughly 300 and some blocks away from this village. And the reason I chose my base where it is, let's get that scoreboard off. The reason I chose where my base was is it had 4 key elements that for me were dead critical that I had to have for my base, and they're not always easy to find in a world especially as close together as they were. The first requirement was a guardian temple. Those aren't too hard to find. The hard part to go with that, the second one, was that there had to be a village nearby. Now that we got lucky. The village was about 150 blocks away from, you can't quite see it yet, it was about 150 blocks away from the temporary setup of my base where my tree farm is. So that was pretty fortunate. The third criteria was that there had to be a desert within about 250 blocks. And just going over that way, there is. So those were the big 3. And then the fourth one, which was optional, wasn't as critical, I guess. Really, I'm not going to say optional, but it wasn't a deal breaker. Was that I had to have plenty of land nearby to get supplies and resources for. And we had that. So the fact that I found all of those pretty close was amazing. So now, because I had to take the villagers that I had, and unfortunately I couldn't just take them. The house where I started this video at is where I had my villagers contained that were librarians. And I had traded with to get mending, unbreaking, and fortune and looting, I believe. So they could not be converted to farmers to start the breeder. So what I had to do was get them breeding to start with. Now we're back on the base. So I took the house that we were in and sealed it up, and then proceeded to start breeding them right away. So we got, and actually I think I had to do 6, not because of the design of the farm, but I got mad at a couple of them. They just were not cooperating. And when you've got them in a naturally spawned villager home, and you're trying to build a way to trap a baby and get them into the minecart and keep them from escaping is not the simplest thing in the world. But I, with a little bit of patience, I was able to build something where I had my primary villagers on top of beds with a 1 high... Ooh, I'm dead. Nice. I had them on top of beds, and I could create a 1 block drop to where only a baby could get through. So we put that in place. Oh, great. Now I got mobs. And then once they got through, it was a question of then being able to pick them up with a hopper minecart. So we did that. And then I had to get them all the way over here. But as you guys know, once you're more than 128 blocks away from things, everything stops, it unloads. So I had to follow every villager in another minecart right behind them. just to get them all the way into the breeder. So we did that. And ultimately I started with 4. Now I built the breeder not necessarily, oh, are you following me? Are you kidding? Didn't you get enough already? I designed the breeder more for functionality and aesthetics, not, there we go, okay. Not either maximum throughput, nor was it set up 100% on the mechanics. And I initially had a couple of hiccups with the beds. I had them a little bit too high, so then I lowered them. But then silly me forgot, whoa, hey, okay, you know what? I've already told your friends where to go. You can go join them. Wow, what is going on with my computer? Why am I frozen up? It's a nice view, but there we go. So anyways, the challenge I had is I was storing all the baby villagers about 8 blocks below the breeder. And silly me forgot that some changes were made along the way as this process was being developed, that villagers can actually detect a bed up to 48 blocks away. Oh, come on. You guys, you know, I know that you really want to spend time with me. I'm not in the mood, okay? That was close. I don't have any armor on either. I should probably go put some on. Anyways, so because I had them so close, when the babies would go below the breeder, they were still attracted to the beds or still attached to the beds up top. And if you don't know, each villager needs a bed to start with. And I brought 4 over here, so you need 4 beds. And then I had 2 more for the babies. So the first 2 that spawned grabbed the top 2 beds, but because they were only 8 blocks down, they never released them. I couldn't spawn anymore. When the villagers went to have another baby, there was no free bed. So what I had to do is make them drop 48 blocks. Actually, it's just over 48. So that way they release the bed. So here's what's happening. The villagers right now see all their beds in the middle. They're trying to get there. They can't because their head continues to hit this block until it's hitting the trap door. So that makes the space that's available here roughly 1.8, and a villager is like 1.95. So they can't get in. But what will happen is during the daytime, as babies form, they're going to walk over this trap door, which makes them think it's a solid block. They think it's a solid block here. And this is the key to making this farm work. And any villager breeder, no matter what, when you have to have beds, they have to believe they can pathfind to them. These guys are thinking, and they're trying to get in here and think they can pathfind to it. Because as far as they're concerned, that's what it looks like. So a baby walks in here, hey, bedtime, I'm going to come in here. His forward momentum will guarantee that he goes into this. So I don't have to worry about them walking away. So then they eventually fall down in here, and you can see I have, I don't know, there's probably 7 or 8 in there. Can I get through here? If not, I'm going to cheat just to show you guys this. Okay, so just so you know, I'm a mod. I'm kind of cheating to show you how this works, though. There's the water stream brings them down to this pressure plate. And the only reason for the pressure plate is to light this up on either side to tell me there are villagers in here. That tower right in front of me is where my trading hall will be. So if I want to add more villagers, I have to look over here and see, yes, there's villagers in here. Then when everything's in place, I can walk over here, push the button for this dispenser. It will fire a minecart. Once I activate the rails, they're off right now. The minecart will actually, believe it or not, will come up through that block, grab a villager, and they'll come back down through that glass block and go where I want them to go. Unary Bit was the guy who developed this design, and so I've implemented it into mine. So when I'm ready, I'll be able to pull villagers right into the breeder, and I'm going to use Really, there's parts of about 5 different designs in this breeder. This is where the mine carts are kept. There's some in the hopper, some in the dispenser. So we're going to just kind of fly back up here. All right, let's get back in survival. Whoops. Okay, so whoops, turn fly off. Okay. Oh, look at me destroying things. Look at this. See, this is what happens. Oh, and now I've lost my hoe. There it is. Anyways. So, the 2 times a day where villagers can breed and farm. So right now it's back to daytime. Look at this. We've got another baby. Oh, this is perfect. Let's see what he does. Now, he won't be trying to go to the beds yet because it's not nighttime, but he believes it's a solid block. So at some point, he may just decide to walk across. Now, we're going to kind of cheat and say goodbye to Daddy. Oh, there he goes. And see, he lands in the water. He's perfectly safe. He landed almost in the middle, whereas we're toward the edge. So he's going to go down there. He's going to grow up. And eventually, when I'm ready for him, I will call him into service. So this is pretty much done. I am going to put a roof over this building because I want to make sure that they don't get struck by lightning. Because then to get somebody back up here is just going to be a horrible pain and you know what. These guys are going to continue to farm and do their thing. And that's pretty much it. As far as a turnout, you know, under ideal conditions, if the 2 villagers remain next to each other or close enough when it is breeding time, they theoretically could each pump out 12 babies per hour. So 24. Realistically, it's probably going to be between 18 and 21, depending on how close the villagers are. So, like I said, it's not the most efficient. I understand when you've got the guys on top of a fence post, they're right there. They're going to breed. I don't care. I don't have to have the most insane, most super efficient designs. It's not part of my design. It's not necessary. This will be more than efficient enough because once I've got like 140 villagers, my breeding hall is full anyways. So after that, it's about replacements. And because I will be within 128 blocks of the breeder's going to run all on its own. So I don't have to worry about it. So what I want to do is go gather some materials, and we're going to start building the villager hall together on camera so you guys know how it's going to work. So let me go get some rails, some blocks. Yes, I need some fence posts. I need some pressure plates and all that. We'll be back in just a little bit. All right, so we're ready. We have the system put in place. We've cleared all of the old rails and bricks and blocks that were in the way. And so what we've done, we've powered up the rails and we've attached a lever to this block so we can fire the dispenser. And of course, what do? I forget to release the button. Here we go. All right, so villager comes out. We're going to chase after him. We just want to make sure that he doesn't stop. I believe it's less than 128 blocks, but let's just play it safe and let's follow him into his new home, right? We just want to make sure he's comfy, doing good, transitions. But we also want to make sure, and this is the same thing with the villager breeder. You bring in one villager, then you give it a workstation. Then you bring in another villager, give it its workstation. If you bring in 4 villagers and then give them 4 workstations, you don't know which one they've locked onto, especially if they're different. That's the only way you would know. But in this case, you know, I'm planning on seating, I don't know, 2 layers of farmers, 2 layers of butchers, 2 layers of armorers, probably 3 layers of librarians. There's going to be so many villagers in here that I need to keep them on their profession. Now, if they all decide that they want to change their workstations, that's fine. But they need to keep their profession at all times. So we give him a workstation. He adapts it. He's now a farmer. I'll buy something just to make sure he stays as a farmer. Now, based on how I've got this guy locked in, I could simply break the mine carts. I'm going to come back on the other end and do that once I clear out this layer. But essentially, at least for the moment, and this may change because I'm not sure I like it yet. Yeah, see that? I don't know. I don't like the color palette that much. We'll have to see because there's going to be, that half slab that's open there. Sorry, I'm still on fly. That half slab that's open may get filled after the fact. I don't know. I got to take a look at it some more. I want to have this place well lit. I don't want it to be a dark, dingy place like that. But I don't necessarily need to have sea lanterns between every single villager. So just for the moment, I'm going to go ahead and do every other one. Oh, where'd it go now? Of course it went out, right? Where'd it go? Right into my inventory. All right, great job. Come on. Oh, come on, really? Really? Dude, get away from my boys. Get away from him. I'm messing my villagers. All right. So once we get it all in here, we'll come back and look at it. So I'm going to get a few of these in. I'll do one more with you. That's it's nighttime. You know what? Let's sleep real quick. So again, I realize, guys, this isn't pure vanilla. We're on a public server. We do have a couple of, we have a home option. I am staff, and occasionally, as necessary for the purpose of shooting the video, yes, I will jump into a mode to make sure I can get to it so you can see what's going on. But I show you, this was a long, arduous process by hand to get to this point. So we're going to go ahead and fire the next one. Just get an idea how many more buys are in here. At least 3 that I can see, maybe 4. I can't quite tell. Makes for a fun night, right? As long as they're in there, they can keep growing inside of the tower. They don't have to be fully grown. I just can't release them out of the minecart until they're fully grown. I'm going to want to use the minecart because I don't have a ton of iron right now. Probably only have maybe 10 or 11 stacks left, and I'm going to need a ton of hoppers. Oh, I forgot to move the railing. Hang on, we got to fix the railing. So this guy, let's see. Can get to his new home. Can we get it over there? Oh, break that one. There we go. Okay, oops, that didn't work. Right, it should be, no, I had it right the first time. There we go. That's what we're looking for. All right. Get you up there. There we go. Now he'll be in place. Yep, we're to the right of the, there we go. All right. So for him, we got to pop that out. I got to put that in there. Continue that around and give him his base. And, oh, I don't have wheat or beetroot. I'm going to have to go get some. All right, so anyways, I'm going to go get some. I'm going to keep working on this, and we'll be back in a little bit. Alrighty, guys, so we've got our first layer of our trading farm done, or trading silo, tower, whatever verbiage you want to give it. We went with putting in kelp blocks on the bottom, and it gives it kind of almost like a baseboard feel to it. And because you're only seeing half the block, so it's essentially putting a half slab with a different kind of design down. And then I went with the dark prismarine in between. trying to find a color that balanced out everything. The polished andesite wasn't doing it. It wasn't even close. I looked at purple to contrast, with the end stone, but that didn't go because it didn't blend quite right with the Priz. So I kind of stuck with the base color scheme that's already in here. These are another half slab. Essentially, it's the exact same as this floor up here, and that's going to allow us to duplicate the same thing going up each level. The only thing I need to do then is right here in the center is actually I'm going to punch a hole through this and have ladders that will go up to each floor. We're probably going to end up doing, I'm leaning towards 2 floors of farmers to start with, and I want to see, based on the trades that fall out, how productive or how useful it might be. Now I'm still toying with the idea also of coming through and letting a zombie run loose, turning everybody and then healing them back. I don't have anything for potion setup, so I'm not anywhere near doing that. But I'd like to get the cost of the trades as low as possible. So that's something we'll spend some more time talking about down the road, I guess. For now, I need to get a bunch of farms going. Because in order to make this useful, I need a carrot farm, I need a potato farm, I need a wheat and a beetroot farm. We already have the pumpkin farm going, and I think there's also a melon trade in there with the farmers. So there's quite a few opportunities here, and that's why I'm thinking 2 floors will probably be sufficient enough to allow us to get enough emeralds to do what we would need to do, whether it's trading with librarians, whether it's selling to the server shop or the players. We should have a pretty good sufficient amount. I need to go up here and raise that yet and put the wall back in place. But other than that, I think the first floor is done. I kind of like how it turned out. I'm not overly excited, but the workstations, just because I had to do a half slab to keep slime from spawning, because I could not believe the sheer number of slime chunks that are in this base. Every one of these towers had at least 1 slime chunk, and there's 4, and most of these towers split 4 chunks. Some of them had 3, to where I had slime spawning so ridiculously, and I'm still worried that even with these in place, that they may spawn in here. I may have to take these down to stairs or something, or half slabs even, just to keep slimes from spawning. And actually, the more I think about this, I don't see that as an option. I think it has to be done, simply because they can spawn, and I don't want a bunch of slimes jumping around and finding some way to push villagers into the corner and suffocate them. I'm sure you've probably noticed already there's a minecart sitting right there. I actually had to leave them in the minecarts because Mojang has a major bug they still have not fixed. In this case, every time I started breaking minecarts, the villagers popped out of the minecarts outside of the structure, more than 2 blocks away. I don't understand why this is still a bug after all these years, but they clearly have not fixed it. So I had to leave them all in the minecarts just to keep them from all popping out of here. It was a pain in the butt just bringing the 2 other ones back in. So I think we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to start working on getting these replaced and putting in, I'm going to look at half slabs and I'm going to look at stairs. The sea lanterns, I'm probably going to have to cover with carpet. Yeah, I think we're going to cover them with some kind of carpet, maybe either white or green, which I don't have. I have very little wool, so I'm going to have to go to a player shop and see if anybody's got some. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Just so you know, if you're not aware yet, we have started another series. I've actually started a modded series. It's actually a mod pack called Breakout. The first episode's up on the channel, and I'm going to put it up on the end screen as well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and let me know what you think. And as always, when you're playing Minecraft, you've got to go boomer or you got to go home. We'll see you later.